how do you manage self-discipline? Well, I always think in terms of risk-reward. Like when I used to invest a lot in stocks, when I worked on Wall Street and when I worked in the hedge fund industry, I would think, this is this much risk, but this much reward. And I do the same thing when it comes to my own self-discipline. If I see, for example, a chocolate cake in front of me, I think of risk-reward. I think risk and reward translated into pain and pleasure. And I'll explain what that means. If I eat this chocolate cake, I'll feel this much pleasure, but I'll have this much pain longer term because I'll gain weight. It's not very good for me. And so you always want to be long-term focused like that. You know, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. And when I worked at Goldman Sachs, they used to always say you want to be long-term greedy. Basically means long-term focused. So think of pain and pleasure. You know, the same thing with, I don't know, eating a big meal, which is all complex carbohydrates right before bed. Yeah, it'll give me this much pleasure because I'll feel full, but this much pain because I'll gain weight. That's how I think about it always. And even when I used to work for other people, when I would go to meetings, I'd also think, should I pitch this idea of mine or not yet? If I pitch it and I'm not really ready, you know, the upside could be massive if it works out, but it's bigger risk, right? So I think of it in terms of pain and pleasure. It would give me this much pleasure to pitch it right now because I'd be heard, but this much pain because I'm not ready yet to pitch that idea at a company. And the same thing with vaping and all this other disgusting stuff that people are doing too much of these days, drugs, whatever it is. You know, pain and pleasure. It'll give me this much pleasure to vape, right? And this is hypothetical, I'll never do that crap. This much pleasure to vape, because it'll I don't know, it's a fix that'll be cured, they say. It makes you feel better after you smoke or whatever it is, I don't know. But this much pleasure because I'll get cancer. So that's what I think of. And I think the same thing too in terms of certain food groups. You know, too much red meat is just terrible for you. Pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure. So if you break everything down in business and in life to risk reward or pain and pleasure, then it'll help you make much better longer term decisions, which will help you, and hopefully this answers your question on how to manage self-discipline.